Welcome to the BartenderHQ.com podcast. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BartenderHQ. Here's your host, David Eden-Sangwell.
Hello and welcome to the BartenderHQ.com podcast with me, your host, David Sangwell. Okay, so this week on the BartenderHQ.com podcast, I'm going to be talking about how to be as efficient as possible behind the bar. I've had a couple of questions from some of the guys that have signed up for the email list. If you haven't done that as yet, then I do highly recommend it. Shoot over to BartenderHQ.com and you will get the pop-up that comes up there. You can get my 10 killer cocktail recipes absolutely free. But yeah, we're going to talk today about how to be as efficient as possible behind the bar. And the first thing that starts with is having the right equipment to make sure that you can serve as fast as possible. So I'm just going to show you some of the stuff that I work with and give you a sort of overview of what you need to take with you to the bar each day. So first and foremost, I use this, which is the barproducts.com bar blade holster, and inside there I'm using this bar blade which has come from barblades.com, and this is great because it works exactly like the standard speed opener, but the difference is this extra cutout here, which allows you to shove it underneath your pour spouts in the bottle so you can pop them out much easier. Sometimes these things can get stuck in the bottles and it just makes your life a lot easier. So that's the one that I personally use. I've had so many different bar blades over the years. Had one which is called the wrench, which I believe I have mentioned on the website before, which has got a built-in strainer into it and a can popper and that sort of thing as well. But I do keep it in one of these, which is, it also holds my lighter. More on that afterwards. But this thing I think I've had for probably a couple of years. No, this thing actually came to Dubai with me, so I've had this for nearly 5 years now. It's a leather holster, clips on your belt. You do need to get either a left-handed or a right-handed, depending on which hand you use most. But these things are about $10 and they last forever. Really good. I think this is my third one ever in like 15 years of bartending. So those are great. Just really means that you can always grab your bar blade straight away, and let's be honest, you're going to open a lot of beer bottles during a night shift. This is something that I've got which is a little bit of fun, which is the Balisong butterfly knife bar blade. They're quite good fun. They're not particularly expensive. That was about £6 I think from eBay. That's with shipping. I have had a better one in the past which came from Bar Products, but they don't seem to do them anymore, which had really heavyweight handles, but this thing's pretty good. It's a little bit stiff, it needs working in. That's only arrived this week. So yeah, as I say, lighters, you want to carry a couple of these for flaming your garnishes. Obviously in the days gone by, you used to be using your lighters for lighting cigarettes for your guests at the bar. However, nowadays, as pretty much all the bars, most of the bars around the world, I think now are non-smoking, I recommend having a couple of these. I do recommend having these electronic ones rather than the flint wheel ones, because if you've got wet hands, the flint wheel gets wet and your lighter's out of action until it dries out. With these things, it'll work all the time, no problems. So that's my recommendation on those. I also do have a Zippo, which I used to love when I was lighting cigarettes for guests at the bar. Again, nowadays, not really as much use. It's still good for flaming garnishes, that kind of thing, but not what it used to be. Pens, you want to make sure you've got at least 3 pens behind the bar. Now, I've just sort of run over the, I think it used to be called the hamburger stand, back in the old days at TGI Fridays, which was basically being set up with your 3 pens, 2 lighters, bottle opener. You should also have a waiter's friend wine bottle opener on you as well. I haven't got one handy here, but when I'm working the bar, except that the nightclub that I currently work at uses screw-top wines, which is much more convenient. But if you're working a good high-end bar as well, you do need to make sure you've got a good quality wine bottle opener as well. So those are some of the things that I'll always carry with me whenever I'm going for a bar shift. If I'm doing an event bar, I will make sure that I've also got pour spouts, because especially if you're going out to different bars, places that use optics, see my post this week on BartenderHQ.com for my thoughts on optics. But if you can take your own pour spouts with you, you know what your flow rate's going to be, that sort of thing. So if you free pour especially, these things are invaluable. These, although it looks like the standard pour spout, the 285/50, this is the Tom Dyer TD1. Ooh, there's the camera. This is the Tom Dyer TD10530. Which is Tom Dyer's pour spout that he's brought out with Beaumont. They're great. They're a little bit quicker than a 285/50. They're also a lot more durable and they last a lot longer. I also bring my own tins to work. This just saves on worrying about if you've got enough tins on your station. If you take your own with you, you know you've got what you need. So I normally carry 2 of these and a cheetah tin, which is like a 16 ounce. These are like your 28 ounce regular shakers, and I prefer the ones with the weights on the bottom. For a long time I used them without. Nowadays I do prefer having the weights there for the spin. So that's kind of what I will take with me on a shift. I will also normally take with me a flare bottle or 2. They don't normally go behind the bar. That tends to be just for warming up before my shift if it's a flare gig, and that sort of thing. So yeah, if you are wanting to serve quickly, the first thing you need to do is make sure you've got all of your kit that you need to serve as well as you can do. After that, it's making sure that things like your station is fully set when you start your shift. Now, I will link to an article in the comments, in the show notes, which is how to set up your station for success. So how you can optimize how quickly you can serve from your station. All the details are really in there. If you've got any questions on that, please do get in touch and I will clarify anything that I can. Other than that, multi-serving is a huge thing. So if you are serving one guest at a time behind the bar, you are wasting so much time. You can serve so much faster if you are serving multiple guests, taking an order while you're making the last round's drinks. I'm not saying go up to the bar, take 5 orders, make all the drinks, hand them all out. That will be slower because you'll be spending so long at the... Or it might not be slower, but it will feel slower to your guests because they will see a block of making drinks and then a block of taking money. You need to be fluid and you need to kind of stagger everything. That's the way that I tended to do it. If I'm doing service bar tickets, which is also obviously a big part, especially if you work in a restaurant or anywhere with table service, restaurant tickets I will always sort of stack as much as I can because you're not interacting with people. All you're doing is banging those drinks out and get them out to the waiters so that they can get them to the tables. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an overview on some of the stuff that you need to do to be serving faster. But let me just touch on that station setup a little bit first. When you come in for your shift, you should be making sure that everything's set up from the bartender before you. So making sure that he or she has left you enough limes, lemons, all your cut fruit basically for your evening. You should be making sure that all of your juices are full. Any mixers that you guys make in-house, you've got enough that will get you through the shift. Now, you don't want to overstock because you don't want this stuff to go off and then be throwing it away and then obviously losing money. But the last thing you want is to be at the busiest part of the night is cutting limes. If you've got a bar back, great, but again, your bar back shouldn't be cutting limes at the busiest part of the night. What your bar back should be doing at the busiest part of the night is supporting you guys. Anything that does happen to run out, fixing it, clearing glasses, making sure everything's good for your guests at the bar, and generally taking care of the whole place. So initially, the most important thing you can do to serve quickly is to make sure that your bar is set in the first place so that you're not struggling and not running around trying to find stuff, trying to find the margarita glass. Make sure you've got enough on hand. If you haven't got enough of a specific glass in your bar, you need to speak to your bar manager and you need to say, look, we will take more money if we've got these glasses, if we've got this equipment, if our blenders work. So don't be hobbling yourself before you even get started by having poor equipment, not having your bottle opener with you. That's the worst thing ever, is when bartenders come in for their shift and they can't be bothered to even bring in their kit that they need to work with. So all I'm saying is basically be prepared. Go out, spend a few quid or a few dollars to get yourselves good quality equipment, and you won't be struggling to make money behind the bar. If you've got all of the gear that you need, there's no problems at all. You can be set, you can make the money, you can take the tips, take the sales, and you can be successful. So if you've got any questions about this sort of thing, if there's anything that I'm not clear on, which hopefully I've been fairly clear and fairly sort of, it's a good overview, please get in touch. Drop me an email. It's david@BartenderHQ.com, and we'll have a chat. Now, it would be a little remiss of me to not mention the most popular movie, well, it was the most popular movie trailer of last year, being the 50 Shades of Grey. And it's been released this weekend, Valentine's weekend, and TGI Fridays in the UK have come up with a cocktail to commemorate this. So, the Mr. Grey Screaming Orgasm that they've come up with is Grey Goose, White Cacao, Bailey's, Amaretto, and Blavod. I would guess 2 of those are going to be a 1/4 ounce and the rest 1/2 ounce each, because they generally have like a 2 ounce cap on the amount of liquor in a drink. Maybe they're 1/2 ounce each, no worries. And then that's topped up with a little bit of 50 and 50. Give it a good shake and strain into a ice-filled Collins glass. So there's a bit of controversy, obviously, over this kind of movie. People saying that it's a bit... there's people saying that it's promoting sort of abusive relationships. It seems to me like she's kind of into the idea, from what I've seen. Not read the book, not seen the movie, probably won't do either. But there you go. That is the Mr. Grey Screaming Orgasm cocktail. Okay, so tips for tips time, and this week it is basically, if you offer to take pictures for your customers at the bar, with their phones or with your own, not a problem either way, you are also going to get more reach with your social media for your bar. So I don't know if any of you guys have any sort of access to your bar's Facebook accounts, anything like that, but if you offer to take the pictures for your guests, rather than them having a bit of a selfie, then you can compose it a little bit better, so you can get their drinks in, that sort of thing, and make sure the background looks good for them. You can also, if you're taking the picture on their behalf, you can offer to take it on your phone and then post it to your Facebook wall for the bar. And if you can do that, they can then tag themselves, and their friends will see your bar's wall and that your friends are there having fun and all that kind of thing. And it will basically just help to really boost up your bar's social networks. So give that a try. I hope it will work out for you guys. I don't think you'll have any problems with it at all. So yeah, and that one comes from Scott Young's 199 Ways to Make More Tips ebook, which is available from bartendingmasters.com. So that's it for this week's podcast. Join me as usual on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram. We're everywhere on social media, so come and find us. We're breaking the latest news as far as we can in the world of bartending. So things like this week, the brand new Bacardi bottle's been released, Bacardi's Carta Fuego, which is their spiced new shooter style rum. So if you want the latest news, the latest information for bartenders, and especially flair bartenders, get over to BartenderHQ.com and find us over on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, guys, thank you very much, and cheers. See you later.
Thanks for listening to the BartenderHQ.com podcast. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BartenderHQ.